look at the WEC Endurance layout. Nestled in the heart of Germany, Seifel Mountains, the Nurburgring Grand Prix layout with the WEC Endurance chicane is a modern motorsports marvel, stretching 5.148 kilometers, 3.19 miles, and weaving through 16 corners. This circuit blends a technical precision with high-speed drama. It's not just a racetrack, it's a proving ground for champions. The Schumacher S's turns 9 and 10 form a fast-flowing chicane named after Michael Schumacher, demanding razor-sharp handling. So it'll definitely be a challenging section for our drivers tonight. This is Throttle Freaks GT3 season finale. I'm Rob Campbell. In the booth with me, as usual, is Richard Swindells. Richard, we head off to Nurburgring, a track that both of us have been big fans of in the past, so no doubt we should see a ton of exciting racing here this evening. Our track conditions out here, 68 degree Fahrenheit track air temps. Going to translate to 80 degrees on the track. Should be a challenging session here this evening for our drivers. Rich, why don't you give us a little bit of your background here at Nürburgring? I know you've raced a bunch of time in the open wheel cars. Oh,
experience was probably an MX5s, and maybe I've done some GT3 and GTE racing here too. Elevation changes, chicanes, very high-speed sections, little technical sections. It's got a mix of it all, and definitely one of my favorites on the service.
Yeah, it's a track I've been looking forward to all season. I think it's actually a great track to end the season up here in Nürburgring. It's got a number of overtaking opportunities, some fast corners, and obviously a lot of chances for drivers to make some mistakes and other drivers to capitalize on it. But we should probably take a look at the schedule and see how we got to this point in time. Rich, why don't you take us through the schedule? Oh, sorry about that. Looks like I'm having a little bit of lockup over here on my end. Let's see if we can get that cleared up.
Well, while Rob is working on that, I'm not sure if we're live here or not, but in case we are, let's take a run through. We started off at Daytona here, then we had a break for Canada Day and the 4th of July. We went to Fuji, then Spa, then VIR, Misano, Circuit Magny-Cours. Then we were at the Bend, Road America, the week I missed, and Silver.
Okay,
welcome it out here at the Nürburgring Grand Prix.
Okay, sorry about that, Rich. I think I'm back again now. For some reason, I had complete system lockup, but looks like we are back and going live again. So hopefully everyone's bared with us during that time, and we can get things back rolling again. But you know, technology, just one of those fickle things. It just seems to be a thorn in my side here lately, Rich.
Yeah, well, that's what I kind of do for my part-time gig during the daytime, Rob, and I don't like doing it when I'm not there, so I can appreciate your frustration.
Hopefully we hold true to the rest of the evening here, but yeah, as you mentioned, I think last I asked you was your experience on the open wheel cars, so I'm not sure if it came through or if we were in the middle of the lockup back then, but it's a fun track, I think, Rich, in really any car that you drive around here at Nürburgring. It really tends to work well for GT machinery that we got out here tonight, as well as open wheel cars. Even the slow cars like the Mazda MX-5s can be a blast around here on some of the shorter layouts.
Oh, for sure, and even on the full-length layout. And let's not forget the bouncy trucks, Rob. I think that'd be really fun around here, too, with all the elevation changes. So it's got something for everyone, and the audience must know by now we're both big big fans of this track. I know not everybody is, but well, you're all wrong and we're right. So it's our broadcast.
There you go. But we've got a championship underway, as we mentioned, coming into this one. Not the penultimate round, the ultimate round here, Rich. We're going to crown a couple champions, 3 different divisions in this one, 3 different classes. Number of drivers still vying for championship positions here. And we'll quickly pop off the qualifying results here right now to keep a little bit of a secret for when we grid up. But let's take a quick look here at the championship standings as we come into this one. Let's start with the AM side, where we're going to see Josh Goen coming into this one leading 319 points ahead of Pete Mejia in second place, Kevin Berquist in third. Now, he's not mathematically out of this one, Rich. As I mentioned to you off air, the drivers cannot drop this round. So all 9 rounds up to this point, they've got points coming in. That's what it's showing there. Whatever they gain for points here tonight is going to be on top of that. They can't use it to drop any of the previous rounds. So the maximum points you can gain in one race, which would be qualifying on pole, setting the fastest lap, running a clean race, would net you, and winning the race obviously, would net you 56 points. So Kevin Berquist right now on the AM side in third place sits exactly 56 points back of Josh Goen. So if Josh were to not run the 50% of the race, Kevin Berquist still potentially could tie him and might win on a tie break. I'm not sure what the tie break is offhand, but there is still potential for Kevin Berquist to at least move up into second, potentially first, but that would mean he'd have to win the race and do the trifecta as far as the bonus points. So that's what's going on the AM side. And then why don't you take us through the Pro-Am side of the championship standings here, Rich?
Yeah, on the Pro-Am side of things, once again, nobody's really eliminated. Nicholas Goen has got himself a, well, man, we're doing Richard math here. It's a 27-point lead over David Bush III, with Joshua Chinsky just a point back. Then we have Jay Steffi, who could play a little bit of a spoiler, 20 points back of them. So right now, Nicholas looks like he has a commanding lead, but as you said, anything's possible. You've got to get at least 50% of the laps in these score points. You can't drop this week. I really think, unless something disastrous happens to Nicholas, it's really going to be a battle for second between David Bush III, Joshua Chinsky, and perhaps Jay Steffi.
Yeah, another one on this side, as you mentioned, Jay Steffi is still in the realm, sitting 48 points back of Nicholas Goen. So a little less work for him compared to Kevin Berquist if he wants to try and take a stab at his class championship. So again, it's within the mathematic possibilities here for Jay Steffi, but I believe he might have actually changed car this week too as well. So I'm not sure if they factored in the points coming in on that one too, as well as Jay's moved into the Mustang from the Acura. So that's how it looks over on the Pro-Am side. We got one more class here, Rich. That would be our pro drivers. Leading the way is J.R. Williams. He's all but locked it up, and a strong showing here from him tonight. Essentially, he just has to more or less run 50% of the race and finish in the top half of the field. But he is coming this one only 19 points up on Matt Stanek, 22 points up on Jack Hedgecox. And again, Dave Menino, 55 points back. There is the outside possibility if he were to, again, win the race, gain all the bonus points, where he could potentially have a shot at the championship side of things. So still a lot of battles going on in these classes coming into the end of this one here, Rich. And then finally we have our teams championship. Why don't you talk us through the team side of things here?
Yeah, I'm going to get through this pretty quickly because we're getting ready to grid. We've got SRT Yellow in first with a pretty decent lead over Goen Racing after last week's disaster. SRTE Purple in a distant third. So it looks like Goen Racing still has a possibility of winding up with the championship, but it's going to be difficult with the performance of SRTE Yellow all season long.
Yeah, the points championship a little wider, far-fetched amongst our teams there, but still some possibility of drivers moving, teams moving up and down through the standings on that one. But as you mentioned, we're ready to grid up here. Let's take a look at our grid here quickly, Rich, while we're waiting for a couple more drivers to join up. On pole, Jim Flees, nice showing by him. He switched cars this week too as well into the Mustang. They'll have J.R. Williams, who's outside with Jack Hedgecox in third place, Matt Stanek in fourth. So our pro contenders got themselves up in the top 2 rows. Chris Sprecher going to start in fifth. Pete Mejia That's a strong qualifying for him and a good shot at his AM championship hopes. In sixth place, Josh Chinsky. In seventh, Nicholas Goen, with a couple drivers in the Pro-Am side battling for top spot there. Sean Provo in ninth, Dave Menino in 10th, Josh Goen in 11th, and Tony Costello going to round out the top 12.
Yeah, and then we have Guillermo Perret in 13th, followed by Brett Thurman in 14th. Patrick Farrell's 15th, followed by returning Herbert Pineda in 16th. Jay Steffi with the new car and the new paint is in 17th, followed by Andrew Trick at 18th. Then we have Jason Park 19th, followed by Javi Sierra in 20th. Kevin Berquist is 21st, followed by Dave Jensen 22nd.
And then we're going to move on to 23rd, where we find Seb Gauthier and Dale Peterson in 24th. Colin McKenzie and David Morris are going to make up 25th and 26th. Jacob Fichtner in 27th, with Brett Pancari in 28th. Brent will be our camera car again this week. Christopher Rhines in 29th. And Roy Brown in 30th. Ian Cabana starting in 31st. Drew DeWeese in 32nd. Neil Alexander in 33rd. Sean Mulholland, our admin, going to round out the field of 34 cars, but we won't see Sean in the field. So 33 cars to finish this one off. Rich, from I think it was 55 in week one at Daytona, still a strong showing all the way to the end.
Yeah, that's a lot better than most leagues see at the end of a season, especially in the summertime. But it's really, really great to see 33 cars out on this grid. As we're doing the short pace lap, Rob, we're just another corner away before they get onto the straightaway on the fabulous Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah, we're going to see 33, correct me, cars into turn one. Turn one can be a little tricky here at Nürburgring. It looks like it's a lot wider than it is, but it sharpens very quickly into turn one. But Jim Feliz going to get a nice jump, hold on to his top spot. It looks like J.R. Williams, Jack Hedgecock's going to battle it out for second place as we see our field come down into turn one. Bottom of the screen, you got our leader, Feliz, holding on top spot. Take a look, see what kind of carnage, if any, unfolds in the background. Nice clean start into this one, much cleaner than we saw last week, Rich.
Oh, definitely. That's what we want to see. We're not going to get too overconfident, but that first corner can be brutal, and we've seen it be brutal many times in the past, usually involving ourselves. But great start. Jim Feliz taking the lead. Jack Hedgecock's, J.R. Williams following in behind. Then we have Matt Stanek and a nice placing Pete Mejia up in fifth right now.
Yeah, Pete Mejia doing exactly what he needs to do to have a shot at the championship in this one. Got himself ahead of Josh Goen, our current championship leader, heading into this one. Going to second place AmCar, but sitting back in 10th place right now. And just a reminder, points are doled out on your overall finishing position, not where you finish in class. So Pete doing exactly what he needs. He needs to keep as many cars between him and Josh Goen right now to have a shot at that championship. Another driver, a shot at championship in his class, Josh Chinsky, ahead of Nicholas Goen, the leader of that class coming into this one. So Josh doing exactly what he needs to do too as well to try and take that championship.
Yeah, Josh has had himself a very good season. I believe it's his debut season here in Throttle Freaks. So nice to see you racing with us all 10 weeks and doing so well, Josh. But Jim Feliz is opening up himself a little bit of a gap now. Looks like he's got himself, I don't know what's he got, Robbie. Looks like he's got himself about a 8/10 of a second gap over second place Jack Hedgecock's at this time. Jim Feliz looking strong in the early goings.
Yeah, it looks like that switch from the Acura to the Mustang really working out well for Jim Feliz. So see if maybe he sticks with the Mustang next season, Rich. I know we have the Aston Martin Advantage GT3 as a new car coming in next season. iRacing bringing that in along with the Mustang GT4, the Indy NXT car, as well as the Mexico F1 circuit. So no doubt we'll see the Mexico circuit in the GT3 series next season, as that's, we always see the new tracks every season in the GT3 series. So we'll see that. And it'll be interesting to see how many drivers jump on over to the gentleman's racer, the Aston.
Yeah, we shall see. Always nice having new cars and new tracks on the service. And I'd just like to make a point here. We're partway through lap 2 at this stage, and there have been no incidents, Rob. None. Everybody driving clean. 33 cars, all knowing that, hey, you can't drop this week, so let's keep it clean. Let's battle to the end of this 45-minute grand finale for season 2.
Hopefully you haven't just went ahead and cursed the whole field now, Rich. But yeah,
I do my best.
Nice to see a nice clean start. I know A lot of drivers have something on the line here, Rich, so not surprising that we see drivers taking a little more caution to start this one off, but looks like Pete Mejia is starting to feel some pressure now from Chris Sprecher, one of the SRTE yellow drivers. Pete going to try and defend that the best he can, but I'm not sure how long he's going to be able to hold off Sprecher. We've seen a ton of pace out of Sprecher here in the second half of the season. Missed the majority of the first half of the season, but since he's come back, he's shown a ton of pace.
Yeah, it's definitely shown a lot of pace, and it's really nice to see. The summertime's hard for a lot of people being able to make it week in, week out. This isn't their full-time gig. They're not all professional race car drivers, so
What?
they have to go spend some they have to spend some family time, Rob. And but you do what you do, and we're all doing this for the love of the sport or the fun, the sim racing experience. Pete Mejia doing a fabulous job, still holding off everybody else and sitting in 5th place, up 1 position on the day. Pete's really taking this serious. He's fallen back from the top 4, but he's being a little bit of a bottleneck, not letting anybody get up behind him.
Yeah, it's fine if you're the cork in the bottle as long as you keep that bottle corked. Right now, Pete Mejia doing exactly that. 4.5 minutes into this one, still a long ways to go. 41 minutes left in this race, but he's going to start to feel a ton of pressure. Looks like we've just had a couple drivers wrecking in the background, Rich, so you've kind of put the nail in the coffin of that. Looks like Brent Pancari, Dale Peterson, Ian Cabana, Roy Bound, Neil Alexander, potentially all involved in something. We'll take a look at that in a few moments. But story of the day right now, Jim Flees, that switch into the Mustang, serving him well now, 1.2 seconds up on Jack Hedgecoats. Hedgecoats just ahead of championship leader J.R. Williams. So J.R. Williams doing exactly what he needs. He can stay in behind Jack Hedgecoats and still easily bring home the championship. J.R. just needs to run a clean race, not get involved in any kind of incidents here, Rich. Bring the car home clean, and he'll have this one wrapped up.
Yeah, it's all about consistency. JR, if he just sits right where he is, and or anywhere in the top several, it's his to lose. And realistically, JR's had a fabulous season, start to finish. A couple little bad results caused by spins, but other than that, he's been pretty flawless all season long. I believe this was his first season with Throttle Freaks, and we welcome him coming over from PRL.
Yeah, JR, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, maybe somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, either during the race here or after. But I believe JR is one of the heads, if not the head, of the SRTE contingent. So leading by example here, up at the front all season. So he thought about trying to make a move inside of Jack Hedgecoats, and back out of it. But now Matt Stadnick getting up into this battle too as well. So Hedgecoats gonna have to deal with a number of SRTE drivers here, Rich, with Jim Flees out front, and then J.R. Williams, Matt Stadnick chasing behind him. Let's see if we can find out what happened a little while back between Dale Peterson and Brent Pancari here. So Peterson in the blue and yellow Acura, Pancari in the orange and white Mustang in behind. Oh, looks like one of the Mustangs, not sure who that was, the 111 hit into the back of Peterson, and then that just kind of basically became a 5 p.m. roadblock on the expressway there with nobody really anywhere to go. That was Christopher Ryan's, I believe, in the 111. We'll have to see if we can get an onboard from him.
That's kind of what I expected on turn 1, lap 1, but unfortunately it took a couple of extra laps, and we had a few drivers collected. Yeah, Christopher Ryan's just getting up into the back and causes the spin, and that just causes a little bit of a pile up in a used car parking lot there for a couple of guys, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for them. Brent Pancari, one of those drivers, our camera car, he's pulled it into the pits. He's actually even left the session. So unfortunate way to end the season for Brett, but I believe he's already signed up for next season, so we should see him back again. But Nicholas Goen starting to make a move forward. He's got Pete Mejia just in front of him, and we know Mejia trying to make a stab at the AM championship. Nicholas Goen has brought his brother Josh along with him, the current AM champion. So we got our Pro-Am leader and our AM leader here now, nose to tail, trying to chase down Pete Mejia. Pete's going to want to try and keep them behind them as long as he can, and hope that maybe something happens, or through pit cycles here later on in the race, Rich, he can open up that gap.
Yeah, Pete did a great job holding on to 5th after gaining that early on, and did quite well for a couple of laps, but eventually the cork lost its seal, Rob. He's dropped a couple positions, sitting 8th now, but is still doing a tremendous job fighting tooth and nail with Nick going and Josh going. Those boys always race tough. So Pete, hats off to you. Keep up the good work.
And no doubt the Goen brothers also as well. They're in the fight for the team championship with their teammate Jack Hedgecoats, currently in second place. So they'd love to move up there a little farther as the SRTE yellow team, which is, if I remember correctly, J.R. Williams, Chris Sprecher, and I believe Dave Menino are all the yellow team drivers. They've got themselves up in the top 6 comfortably. So they came in leading the team championship. They can maintain those positions. They should have that team championship locked up too as well.
Yeah, it's it's been a good battle, nice close team battle all season long up until last week. Now it's gapped a little bit, but not too much. So anything's possible, Rob, at the end of this race. But take a look at onboard with Josh Goen, following along behind Pete Mejia. Just a fabulous section of this track, Rob. Swinging out wide, a little left, right turn, and then you're coming out into this long straightaway that goes downhill, then back uphill into the no chicane, as I call it. Very technical section, and then nailing that last corner. Once they get through this little section here of the chicane, you've got a little left, a little right. It's pretty open compared to the real chicane. But now here, timing this right, getting up, toe stomp up to the curb, but not all the way on the curb, swing it way out wide to get yourself a great exit. You need that great exit because here's another long straightaway going downhill into turn 1.
Yeah, probably the premier overtake opportunities into turn 1. Pete Mejia able to hold off Josh going into turn 1, but Goen putting a ton of pressure on them. Not too far up the track, though, is Josh Wachinski and Dave Menino. If the 3 of them, actually, I guess Josh Goen's kind of fallen off the back of, Joshua Nicholas Goen's fallen off the back as Josh Goen's gotten around him. So it looks like maybe Nicholas Goen backed off a little bit to let his brother Josh through. See if he can battle with Pete Mejia, their 2 top drivers in the AM side of things coming in this one. Nicholas Goen can't allow himself to fall too far back, though, as one of his championship contenders, Josh Wachinski, a couple spots ahead of him right now. So playing with a little bit of fire here. If something were to happen to him, he could potentially lose his Pro-Am championship here, Rich.
These numbers are all too close and too confusing for my brain. Like I said, Rob, my part-time job during the day is dealing with computers and numbers. I'm just here for my commentary, and we're going to need a mathematician to figure out all those combinations as we watch Sean Provo here sitting in 11th place, following along behind Nicholas Goen. So these guys having a nice close battle. We've still got several different close battles out on track. But up front, Jim Feliz is almost a 2-second gap over Jack Hedgecoats with J.R. Williams right behind him. So things have opened up for Jim. He's kind of decided, let's make a car change. Let's get some more pace, and let's walk away and run away with this one. So let's see if he can hold it off for 11 minutes, 25 seconds into this 45-minute finale.
Yeah, he's led it from the drop of the green flag so far into turn 1. You see that gap there over Hedgecoats and J.R. Williams. Matt Stanek falling the back a little bit off that battle too as well. Then we see Chris Sprecher trying to bridge the gap between those packs here. We got some battles going on a little farther back in the pack. It looks like things kind of stagnant up front. Colin McKenzie here trying to chase down Herbert Pineda. McKenzie up 8 spots from where he qualified. Pineda still holding on to the 15th starting position he started here with. Going to go a little wide, exiting out of turn 1. And have to knife it back in. That's going to compromise his exit. See McKenzie able to close up a little more due to that.
Yeah, one thing with Colin McKenzie doesn't necessarily qualify as well as you would think he should, based on the pace he shows during races. Quite often we'll see Colin moving up. Right now, up 8 spots. We've seen him move up many more than that, double digits quite often. It's just a matter of he's had some bad luck this season and hasn't always been able to finish, unfortunately, where he really deserved to. So hats off, Colin sitting up 8 positions on the day, falling along behind Herbert Pineda. Let's see if he can pick up 9.
Yeah, we'll see how that battle unfolds as the race goes on. Herbert Pineda, a driver who's shown a ton of pace at certain tracks here this season and some other tracks that haven't really fit his eye. But right now looking strong in the Mustang. I think that was actually a change in car last week for Herbert, if I remember correctly. So another driver switching to the Mustang, which I think we've seen a lot of drivers, they've switched into cars this season. They've either went into the Mercedes or into the Mustang, and they've definitely had very timely improvements with making that switch. Another driver who switched is Jay Steffi, which is kind of surprising because he came into this with an opportunity to try and take the Pro-Am championship away, but he's moved into the Mustang this week, which cost him 20 points in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically he had a chance, but realistically, all the stars would have to align, and the three guys ahead of him in the championship would all have to crash out early. So he's made that change and put on quite the spectacular livery on that car with the daisy on the one side. He's got, it looks like a cat on the other side. I thought it was Brett Pancari for a minute when I saw the daisy, but then I saw the other side and realized, no, that's Jay Steffi being Jay Steffi. So good job, Jay. Let's see how you do in this Mustang so far, sitting 24th.
Yeah, he's got Christopher Ryan's reeling him in the BMW, one of the few BMWs we have in the field. The only other one we have right now is Jack Hedgecoats, our second place driver right now. So BMW is a little scarce this season, along with the Lamborghinis, who I don't believe we see our only Lamborghini driver, David Bush III, not with us. So interesting, he came into this one in second place in Pro-Am. That's going to eliminate one of the competitors for Nicholas going here to bring home the championship.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't get to see Dave Bush III finish out the season because he's had himself a pretty decent season thus far. But man, Pete Mejia is getting all kinds of pressure now. Josh Goen is really starting to put it on and really wants to get that position because last week of the season, the team's battling hard for their championship, and as are the individual drivers. But Pete Mejia wanting none of that, sitting 8th place still, doing a fabulous job.
Yeah, I'm having a look at their quick times amongst the two of them here. Pete Mejia with 154.49, Josh Goen 154.34. But last time by was actually Pete Mejia setting his quickest time at 54.49 to Goen's 54.6. Oh, Goen thought about looking at the inside there. Pete Mejia going to come over and close the door. Let's see what kind of run Goen gets here down the front straight if able to capitalize. Pete Mejia already going defensive on the inside. To make Goen go the long way around if he's going to make that move.
Oh, wow. And Goen looking inside, now looking outside. But Pete Mejia doing a great job just holding off, staying on the inside. But now we've got Goen's got the inside for the next corner. As he got the move done, and they're going too wide here, round turns 2, 3. This is some fabulous racing. We'll look on board from behind with Nicholas Goen. But right now, the driver's still side by side. They're going 3, 4 corners wide, and that's letting Nicholas Goen close right back up on these guys. Still too wide. And finally getting it done is Josh Goen over Pete Mejia. Now Pete Mejia's got Nicholas Goen all over the back of him. He's kind of the meat in the Goen brothers sandwich.
I'm sure his buddies at work are going to love that one, Rich. They'll rag on him about that one, but we'll see if Pete is able to fight back here. A little bit of a counter strike against Josh Goen. Sometimes it's easier to be the dog chasing the rabbit than the rabbit being chased by the dog here, Rich. So we saw the pressure that Josh Goen was able to put on Pete Mejia. Now we'll see if Pete can answer back with that same amount of pressure. They've got Nicholas Goen and Tony Costello, though, in tow. So this is a 4-car battle. Also, Sean Provo and Brett Thurman not too far back either. This could be a 6-car battle shaping up for 8th place in short order.
Yeah, this is, we've had some fabulous racing, and as one of our YouTubers, viewers commented, that was some of the best racing he's seen between Pete Mejia and Josh Goen. Great, fabulous efforts. And they're still going here. Pete Mejia now is falling back a little bit, but we've still got another Goen brother now starting to apply some pressure. Man, we've got, what, 5, 6 cars there now, Rob? This is looking quite good for a nice finale to this race if things keep up like this.
Yeah, we're at 5 cars now. Potential to move it up to about 7 cars as Patrick Farrell closing in this battle too. Now we have our first car in for service here as looks like Guillermo Prey going to be the first taker for pit service. Tony Costello making a move on the inside of Nicholas Goen. Going to try and fight back on the inside. Tony Costello going to try and hang tough there. So if he can stay side by side here through this corner, he'd have the inside into the next one. But unfortunately, he's going to compromise a little bit of his entrance there. Going to have to back out. And now that's going to put Sean Provo right in his kitchen.
Yeah, if you go for that one move to get that one spot and you don't get it, you're going to lose one. It's happened there, but unfortunately, I've had that happen to myself many a time, and it always sucks. But lots of time left, and lots of time to make those moves again and get that position back. But Sean Provo having himself a good race here. Tony Costello, Nicholas going, Pete Mahee even up ahead. So, man, look at this nice, great grouping and good, close, fair racing so far between all these guys.
Yeah, fair, clean battling, which is exactly what you like to see. You don't want to see anybody lose a championship based off a little bit of contact or an error. So nice driving by all those drivers. But again, we're not even at the halfway mark, Rich. So I suspect as we get later and later into the race, the gloves will start to come off a little bit more. But Sean Provo not looking to wait around here, trying to find a way around Nicholas Gowan in short order here.
Yeah, he's been trying for a lap or two here now, and it's just not been happening. But he's sticking the nose up now, out the outside, on the inside. But no, that's getting denied.
Yeah, jumping over that curb, that's going to cost him a position. So he's on the the offensive, and now he's going to have to go into the defensive. As Tony Costello looking the inside. Now Brett Thurman and Patrick Farrell right there too as well. Brett Thurman switched over to the Mercedes last week, one of those drivers I mentioned, switching from the Brett in the Porsche over to the Mercedes. So looks like it's working out well for Brett. He showed some strong pace last week. Unfortunately got wrapped up in an incident, I believe, later on in the race, but showing a ton of pace here now. He's got himself injected into that battle.
Yeah, well, at this stage of the season, Brett wasn't having the points haul that he was hoping for, I think, at the start. So hey, let's make a change because we're coming out to a new season coming soon. Let's see if he likes this car better and see how things go. And so far, this race at least, Brett having himself a very good showing. He's 13th place. He's up one position, but 13th place is better than he's experienced on a few occasions this season.
Yeah, I wonder if Brett will stick with the Mercedes, as you mentioned, like last season. But in the bottom of the screen, we got the battle for second place. Jack Hedgecoke's leading the way over J.R. Williams. I've noted that Hedgecoke's getting flagged a couple times for off track, so he's going to lose those bonus points for the 0x race. I'm not sure right now. J.R. Williams not showing anything on my timing and scoring as far as off track, so came into this one leading the way. Really need to run a clean race or get all the bonus points. Just needed to have a comfortable finish where Jack Hedgecoke's need to try and gain any bonus points in as many positions as he can. So right now, Jared Williams loving to see Hedgecoke's racking up those off tracks.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is the limit before they get a drive-through. Do you know, Rob, in this series?
I want to say it's either 13 or 17. I can't remember offhand. I believe it used to be 13, but I'm not sure if it got bumped up to 17. But it's a low number. It's not something you can really waste a whole lot off tracks. You get a 4x here or there, and it adds up very quickly.
I'm guessing it's 17 because my timing and scoring is showing a couple of drivers in the double digits, including Jack Hedgecoke's, Matt Stadnick, and Drew DeWeese. So hopefully my timing and scoring is wrong, because if I'm not, drivers are going to have to be careful for the last half of this race.
Yeah, I think sometimes the timing and scoring, like another overlay I use when I'm racing myself, I overlay. Sometimes it'll flag an off track in their system, but iRacing doesn't flag it. So it's a little lenient. It goes by what it thinks is going to be an off track, because iRacing doesn't actually send out that information to the overlays. So it's kind of their best guesstimate in some of the corners where they get an off track. So sometimes it's a little liberal with the off tracks, but if he's showing that much in SDK, no doubt he's probably got at least half of what it's showing, maybe even more, like 3/4. So yeah, Jack Hedgecoke's gonna have to be a little leery of that as the race goes on here, Rich, as you mentioned.
Well, thanks for the information, Rob. I am more educated now. We're going to go back here with Pete Mejia. Pete Mejia is still doing a great job of holding off Nicholas Gowan. Josh Gowan has opened up a little bit of a gap over them now, but Pete Mejia doing a great job and not letting anybody else by. Josh has been trying now Nicholas has been trying now for several laps, and Pete Mejia just continuing to drive clean, consistent laps and defensively when needed.
Yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't able to keep Josh going in behind him, his main competitor, but as you mentioned, he's been able to keep Nicholas going back there. So we'll see if Maybe Pete can find a little bit of extra pace here. He might be a candidate. I know I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but for the undercut, try and relieve a little bit of pressure from the back of Nicholas going. Maybe he comes back out into a little bit of clean air and he can run some real hot qualifying type pace laps and maybe, just maybe, get back ahead of Josh going through pit strategy.
Well, and if I'm Josh, that's something I'm seriously, or sorry, if I'm Nicholas, that's something I'm seriously thinking about right now. Nicholas has been trying for several laps to get by, hasn't been able to. Why not jump into the pits? Take the pressure off, get rid of traffic, and go burn your good laps by yourself, and see if that helps you out.
Yeah, it's always a good strategy at certain tracks. With Nurburgring not having a super long entry into pit road, it's a track that potentially could be advantageous here, Rich. So we'll see if any of our drivers take that opportunity, as we're at the or just past the halfway mark here right now. So we should start to see some more of our drivers come in for the early cycle, and we'll see if anybody actually takes advantage. But looking through here, trying to find some other battles. Looks like we got Javi Sierra. I believe that's another driver who switched cars, Javi, into the Mercedes this week. I believe he's been in the Corvette, I want to say, was one of our Corvette drivers, but he's in behind Colin McKenzie. McKenzie up 9 spots on the day, Sierra up 3. That's going to be a battle for 16th and 17th place. They've got Herbert Pineda just up ahead of them, and not too far back is Kevin Berquist, who had, as I mentioned early on, a very, very outside chance of potentially taking the AM Championship, but currently sitting 4th in class right now. Looks like best Kevin could hope for right now is to hold down his 4th place coming into this one.
Nothing wrong with 4th place, and I'd like to thank out Mazaf XZ or Z if you're in Canada. Apparently, from what they're saying, it's 20x for a drive-through, Rob. So maybe we're both wrong. But we're gonna go back on board here. Colin McKenzie is still having his little battle with Herbert Pineda. Herbert has opened himself a little bit of a gap now, but these guys are still battling and nose to tail. Colin making a little later braking efforts than Herbert, falling a little behind on exit. So it looks like these guys have kind of settled into a routine now. I think it's going to all wash out after the pit cycle.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, but I believe Mass FX is David Bush III, so maybe he'll let us know why he's not out here racing this week. Maybe he's gone away for vacation, or maybe, he just doesn't like Nurburgring. But thanks for the info, D Bush III, and we'll continue on. But 20x, that's actually a lot higher than I thought it was going to be, Rich.
Yeah, that's something I kind of good at not using off tracks, but I think the drivers are appreciating having 20x, and I think some of them are using that to keep their pace. As we watch J.R. Williams, JR has been fighting, trying to get by Jack Hedgecox all race long. Jack Hedgecox doing a good job of holding him off, with Matt Stanek in behind J.R. Williams. Jim Feliz, meanwhile, got himself out to a 4-second lead at this stage on lap 14.
Yeah, Jim Fleas comfortably out front. I think it's safe to say, if I was Jim Fleas, I'm coming back next season in the Mustang. I might take a shot in the Aston to kind of see how it works for him. But right now, his pace outright compared to what we've seen this season in the Acura for him, the Mustang seems to fit his driving style perfectly. But J.R. Williams, I think, is just kind of sitting there comfortably, Rich. As you mentioned, he doesn't really have to push the envelope here. He's going to bring the car home in one piece. He's past the halfway mark now, so he'll get points for wherever he finishes. And, anywhere up in the top 15 should secure that win for him. We've got a number of drivers coming into the pits now. It looks like Brett Thurman, Herbert Pineda, and Javi Sierra all come into the pits to get their cycle done. So a couple of drivers going to opt to come in early, see how they cycle through once they get back on track.
Yeah, it's we're 27 minutes in, so this is when we'll see drivers this lap, the next lap, maybe one more lap. It's a pretty long lap here at Nurburgring. They're close to 2 minutes, so they can only stretch this fuel out so long. Pete Mejia now. Pete is sitting in 9th place. He's still between Josh Goen and Nicholas Goen, doing a great job. And now, actually, they're all three of them are a lot closer than they were earlier, Rob. So looks like Pete's pulled a little bit of that gap back on Nicholas, and or sorry, Pete's put a little back on Josh, and Nichols has tightened up too. So, man, Rachel, it looks like that going sandwich is back again.
Yeah, I'm wondering right now if Pete Mejia is trying to calculate some way to maybe dive out, force a late braking maneuver by Nicholas going, and just have the two Going brothers cleared out right now here. Imagine that. I don't suspect it'll happen, but that'd be the kind of thing I'd be thinking if I was Pete Mejia right now. It'd be, how can I get these two guys to one, get off my tailpipe, and the other one to get out from in front of me? But Pete doing well to maintain that pace, no doubt feeling a ton of pressure. Trying to look at the windshield plus defend in the mirror at the same time is always a tough challenge. As we see Sean Provo diving into the pits, he's going to come in from 11th place to get his service done.
Yeah, Sean Provo having himself a good race so far. He's going to go get his service, but we're looking down here with Herbert Pineda. Herbert Pineda sitting 25th. Herbert has come into the pits and gone out. We'll see where he cycles with Colin McKenzie once everybody is made their non-mandatory but basically mandatory stop for fuel.
Yeah, it looks like Herbert Pineda, when he came in, he was just ahead of McKenzie. McKenzie now sitting in, I believe, 12th place right now. Obviously, we had a few drivers come in for service. We have few more, another 4 drivers, Provo, Steffi, Jensen, Goche, all in for their service. So see right now how many positions Pineda can make back up. Currently sitting in 25th. He's going to get ahead of Goche, Steffi, and Jensen now, make those positions back. So we're starting to get an idea here, Rich, whether the undercut is the way to work the pit strategy here tonight, or if the overcut's going to be the way. But the drivers up front, we haven't seen any of them duck in. Hedgecote still leading the way ahead of the SRTE train of Williams, Stadnik, Smrecker, and Menino occupying the rest of the top 6 positions.
Yeah, it's been a lot of the names we expect to see. You know, everybody in the top 10 has had a great results throughout the season, and no surprise, they're sitting where we kind of expect them to as we watch. Looks like Jack Hedgecote's coming in earlier than J.R. Williams, so going to be shaking out in the next lap in a bit, and we'll find out where everybody sits.
Yeah, I'm wondering there, I just caught at the last second when we went to the picture-in-picture, Matt Stadnik in the Porsche coming in just behind Hedgecote. So I think he might have crossed the white line for pit entry, so we'll have to take a look, keep an eye on Stadnik's time in the box. Potentially a penalty there for unsafe entry into the pit lane, but we've got Josh Goen and Pete Mejia coming in for service. Nick Goen going to stay out for another lap, so we'll see here whether they can get ahead of Nicholas, or if maybe that extra lap here for Nicholas is going to get him ahead of his brother and Pete Mejia.
Yeah, looks like I think Matt Stanek came out right behind, so we will see if he has to come into a pit for a penalty or not, Rob, but looks like so far everything looks all clean on that front.
Yeah, if he was able to get in there without a penalty, well done by him. It looked like it was very close, but so well done for Matt Stanek. J.R. Williams going to move up into top spot, though, as Jim Feliz came in with that Group 2 as well. Feliz going to come back out in 5th, so I suspect he'll regain top spot here when J.R. Williams comes in for his services. Jim Feliz had that gap up to about 5 seconds over J.R. Williams, but a little further back in the pack as we have Guillermo Prey now and Colin McKenzie battling. You know, those two drivers have both been in for their fuel stop. This is a battle for position, 16th and 17th place. Prey holding on to that position. McKenzie trying to take it away, and Herbert Pineda just in behind. So it looks like the early pit stop for Herbert Pineda hasn't worked out to this point.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You lose the draft if you're going in and coming out on your own, but you also got to be able to, you know, do a really quick entry onto pit road, a really quick exit, and your in laps and your out laps are just as important as the time in the stall.
Yeah, it's always a tricky thing whether to come in early or come in late. You know, it's something I've never really been able to quite calculate. I always kind of try and push it as long as possible. It always seems like the less fuel, the faster you go. But, you know, there is something to be said. There is some guys that seem to convert that undercut into positions every race, and I just haven't quite figured out how they do it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Rob. I'm generally speaking, I'm coming in last lap or second last lap, and the only time I don't do that is if I'm stuck behind somebody. I think I've got better pace then, and then I make the call to, try and get some clean air. But J.R. Williams is sitting in second place after his pit stop. Jack Hedgecoke's in third place now, so it looks like he's got himself a definite advantage. And Jim Feliz, 3.5 seconds. Jack Hedgecoke's a couple seconds back. Matt Statnick, a second and a half back of him. So pit cycle's not working out for Jack Hedgecoke's.
Yeah, mega stop by J.R. Williams. Majority of the field in the 39-second cone-to-cone time with about 11 something, mid 11 something time in the box itself. J.R. Williams, 37.1 from cone to cone and
Wow.
10.1 seconds in the stall. Faster than anybody else on track. Now we saw how majority of the race he was in behind Jack Hedgecoke, so no doubt saving some fuel. Hopefully he's made the correct calculations, as we've seen one race for JR. Unfortunately, he didn't make it on fuel, but we've seen him maximize his fuel strategy every race since. So I'm feeling very confident our championship leader heading into this one has made the right call. And he's just going to put it on cruise control here for the next, say, 10.5 minutes and then bring home the championship, Rich.
Well, I forget how the math all works out, Rob, but man, that would really be a shame if he wasn't able to complete the last lap and drop 20 positions or whatnot. So let's hope JR's math is a little better than ours, because he's certainly been dominant this season. But Josh Goen here, man, we've got a good battle here, but Josh Goen is sitting there now ahead of Pete Mejia after the pit cycle. So the Goen brothers sitting 8th, 9th, Pete Mejia in 10th.
Yeah, it looks like Nicholas, that one extra lap, was able to get ahead of both his brother Josh and Pete Mejia. So strong strategy there for Nicholas Goen. Got a battle in behind there. Tony Costello trying to chase up into his back. He's trying to bring Brett Thurman, Patrick Farrell along with him. Jason Park is the lapped Acura just behind them. So still not over here yet in this battle for, I believe it's 8th place, being held down by Nicholas Goen. We're gonna have a couple more contenders joining this battle in a matter of moments. But go further back, go back to this battle between McKenzie and Prix. This is for 14th and 15th. Pineda desperately trying to get involved up in that battle, but unable to close that gap. McKenzie putting a ton of pressure on the back of Guillermo Prix, trying to find a way around him as they exit out of the arena section.
Yeah, Guillermo Prix doing a good job holding off Colin McKenzie. Colin McKenzie got himself an early jump, as he usually does, and not being able to get past the good battling Guillermo Prix. Guillermo Prix having himself a good showing this far. They're sitting 14th to 15 spots. Colin McKenzie, our biggest mover and shaker, up 10 positions on the day.
Yeah, nice showing by McKenzie. I wonder if maybe he would have had a little better qualifying if he could have potentially been battling up in the top 10. But what could have been isn't what we're here for, Rich. We're here for what's happening right now. But McKenzie doing the best he can, trying to keep that pressure on Prix. But we've got another battle a little farther back. Jay Steffi here trying to put some pressure on David Morse. So Steffi's switched over to the Cat Meme Mustang this week. Doesn't look like the Mustang really fit in his driving style compared to the Acura. He's shown some strong pace all season in the Acura, but trying to put some pressure on the back of David Morse. Sean Provo just ahead of them in that black and green Mustang. So David Morse in a Mustang sandwich right now.
Yeah, Jay's not having the pace we normally come to expect from Jay, but I guess at this stage he thought, let's try something different, because what he'd been doing was successful, but not quite as successful as he was hoping. So last week of the season, try a different car, maybe think about what he wants to do for next season. Jay, always a pleasure to have in the booth when he's been able to get there on the podium and give us an interview.
And as I believe you crowned him a week or two ago, Rich, the best beard in the league goes to Jay Steffi. But they're starting to reel in Sean Provo, so we could have a 3-car battle here for final position in the top 20. Provo currently holding that down. Steffi thought about making a move up the inside of David Morris, and actually Victor and Jensen not too far ahead of this battle too as well, as they're fairly nose to tail up ahead. Looks like Dave Jensen made a switch into the Mercedes too as well. I'm trying to remember what he was driving last week. I think Mustang potentially, but another car switch for one of our other drivers, Dave Jensen, trying to hold off Jacob Fichtner.
Yeah, Dave Jensen sitting 18th spot in the Merc with Fichtner in behind him. It's we're sitting here 38 laps in, and these guys are still just a couple of tenths apart, Rob. Good close battling, whether you're sitting there in 5th or 6th, 7th, 8th. Those guys are you're sitting here in 18th. Everybody's looking for that extra position, get those extra points. Season isn't over until they cross the checker flag.
Yeah, you can't win unless you finish first, Rich. Wait, hold on. What was you saying there?
I may not be fast, but I last, Rob.
Close enough. That also sounds like it could be on the wrapper of a certain product too as well, Rich. So you might want to trademark that before one of those companies hop on board and try and steal that from you. But Mackenzie's still unable to find a way around Prix. We see Jason Park just ahead. Lap car might come into be a bone of contention on this battle. Looks like Park going to move to the inside. He'll let that battle through. Nicely done by him. But up front, Hedgecote starting to reel in J.R. Williams. Got that gap down now to about 2.6 seconds. When they came out of the pit cycle, it was just over 3 seconds for J.R. Williams. So I wonder if J.R. maybe running a little tight on fuel, lifting and coasting a little bit. That's allowing Hedgecote to pull in. Even if Hedgecote got around J.R. Williams, he'd have to hope for some sort of catastrophe from Williams to take the championship. But Matt Stadnick, not too far back of Hedgecote. No doubt he's going to try and push the envelope here forward on Hedgecote too as well, try and force a mistake from him for his sister team driver J.R. Williams up ahead.
Yeah, I think J.R. Williams finishing 4th is a lot better with fuel to cross the line is a lot better than not. So perhaps he's just lifting and coasting, as you say. But Tony Costello now, Tony is applying all kinds of pressure to the back of Pete Mejia. Pete Mejia's done a good job holding into the top 10 late in the race. Now Tony Costello's going to take a turn and see if he can get by.
Yeah, Pete, I'm sure he's desperately going to want to try and hold on to that position because you never know what might happen to going up ahead. Costello doesn't really care much about that. Rich, he's trying to gain as many points as he can. He's going to try and push the envelope further. That Merc that we've seen, the Mercs being incredibly strong this season. We've actually got 4 of them in the top 12 other than McLaren's, and Mercs holding the title for top car in the top 12. So McLaren's and Mercedes looks like the cars that have this week here at Nurburgring. But let's take a moment here, Rich, where we got some time. I mentioned that next season, Throttle Freaks is bringing in the F4 too as well for a league. If you're interested in driving F4, signups are open now. If you're interested in the GT3, signups open later this week. I believe it might even be as early as tomorrow, if I remember correctly. But information for the new F4 league is there. Lobby will be starting approximately 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're interested in F4 racing, heat racing as well, come on and join in, and we'll be broadcasting that on Thursday nights next season too, as well as the GT3 GT3 machinery, which barring entries will be going back to fixed and sprint, separating into 2 separate leagues again. That'll be on Tuesday nights. Again, it'll go back to, I believe it was 8:30 p.m. start, Rich, if I remember correctly, when we had the 2 separate for fixed. But all 3 of those leagues will be moving over to another channel for next season too as well. If you're interested, you can find all the information in the Discord too as well.
Yeah, I think it might be even a little bit earlier. But regardless, going back to 2 races, that means, man, you're going to have to listen to me twice as long as Colin McKenzie still applying pressure to Guillermo Prey. Guillermo hasn't flinched yet. Colin knows he's running low on time. We're on 42 minutes left. Now he's sending Guillermo wide. Colin's got the outside. Looks like he's got this job perhaps done, but Guillermo fighting back now. Guillermo's going to tuck in behind, but all that is doing is allowing Herbert Pineda to get into this mix.
Yeah, nice move by McKenzie there. You can see him setting. Oh, Perret going defensive. Not ready to let Pineda by. Oh, I'm not sure if Guillermo Perret got a slowdown there somewhere. Looked like he almost had to bail out at the last minute. Rich to clear a slowdown, and that let Pineda by. But from the time that we clicked back onto that battle, I didn't see anywhere where he would have went off to get a slowdown. But McKenzie set Prey up a couple corners ahead, was able to force him out wide. And as you mentioned, tucked the nose up inside, takes that position away. That's going to get him into 14th place. So just inside the top 15. And that's going to be net 11 positions, I believe, if I remember correctly here. We'll have a quick look. That's our biggest mover of the day.
Yeah, he's Colin's definitely having himself a good job and a good way to finish off the season. We're going to take a look at Josh Goen. Josh sitting in 9th, falling behind Nicholas in 8th. We've got Pete Mejia all over the back of him in 10th, and Tony Costello's fallen just a little bit back now, but we've got a 4-car train here, so with just a little bit of time left here, it looks like we've got probably one more complete lap after this one. It's now or never. Pete Mejia trying to maintain his position, ideally get past Josh. We'll see what happens.
I think at this point in time, Mejia is going to need to get past Josh, and then potentially something to happen to gain a couple more positions. Just getting ahead of Goen right now isn't going to give him the championship. So unfortunately, it's going to come up just a hair short for Pete Mejia, but an excellent season by these two drivers, Josh Goen and Pete Mejia, taking it down to the very last race, the last couple of laps here, Rich, to decide this championship. But Pete Mejia going to try and force the envelope the best he can. Looks up to the inside of Goen, tries to force a mistake on Goen's part, unable to do so. He's actually lost a little bit of time there as Tony Costello now closing up on the back of Pete Mejia.
And while that's going on, we're on the final lap of the race. The guy drives coming around across the start finish line. Jim Feliz got himself a 5.3 second gap to J.R. Williams, first and second. So Jim Feliz kind of running away with this one, but J.R. Williams he's got himself a decent gap to Jack Edgecoats, and then Matt Stadnick in behind him. So it looks like 1 and 2 drivers have kind of ironed themselves out, and we've got really the 3 and 4 drivers is where the battle's at in the podium positions.
Yeah, J.R. Williams, excellent season for him. Couple races there where a little bit of contact cost him potential wins. Rich, one of them, I think he actually was able to recover and take the win. Another one couldn't quite get back up there. I think he's had to settle for 3rd or 4th, but for the most part, fairly flawless season here for J.R. Williams. Strong showing up towards the sharp end of the field, week in, week out. Really earned this championship here, and hats off to J.R. I believe he said he's not going to be back next season. He's got some work that he's got to take care of. We all got to do the IRL work stuff so that we can be able to game here in the evenings. But hats off to JR. No doubt we'll see him back in in seasons to come. But Jim Flees, he's going to cross the line and take the win here in the final round. J.R. Williams, he's going to come across the line to cement his championship. Jack Hedgecoats and Matt Stadnick going to round out the top 4. Chris Smecker going to hold on to 5th. But spot back here. So the battle between Mejia and Goen still going on as they head into the WEC chicane here. Pete Mejia trying to put as much pressure. He's going to look up the inside. They're going to go side by side in the final corner. Pete Mejia going to, oh, he can almost take that spot away.
Oh!
Loses the back end. Oh, he and Costello are going to tag at the end. Oh, no, Patrick Farrell comes in. Pete Mejia is in the crowd. He's in the crowd. Send a medic. Send the medics. Colin McKenzie and Herbert Pineda going to race to the line, but oh man, what a finish there for Pete Mejia. Hats off to him. He hung it all out, Rich, and tried everything he could to take the win. So I'm not adverse to seeing, we still got sparks flying there from Pete Mejia. So I'm not adverse to seeing guys trying to win it all at the end, but what a way to finish that one.
You know, I was forgetting where the finish line was there, and thank goodness that happened, and they did cross. Fabulous effort. Pete Mejia doing everything he could, almost actually pulled it off, just lost a little bit of traction, and then we saw the carnage, but the carnage happened at the finish line, and I don't think it necessarily cost anybody anything except for Pete.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if we can take another look at what happened there. Let me see if I can find it, get it queued up here. I believe this might be the start of it here. Pete Mejia comes across. Tony Costello get tagged up. Pete gets shot across the track. It's sent into the railing. Sparks flying. The unfortunate driver here, Patrick Farrell, can't quite get to the finish line there. He's going to lose a ton of spots. So no doubt Patrick Farrell not going to be as as enthusiastic a onlooker of, of that attempt by Pete Mejia as some of us may well be.
No, it looks like Patrick still finished 13th, Rob. So we're all good. I think he just crossed the line. So, wow, what a finish! What a season! I mean, 10 weeks of racing. I missed my favorite track, but I was here for my second favorite on the service. We saw a tremendous display from a lot of drivers, and the majority, pretty much all the drivers. Great racing up and down the field. Great format that Throttle Freaks has put on. Obviously been very successful. We've had 55 cars, finishing the season with 33 cars. What better way to finish?
You nailed it, Rich. It was everything we could ask for from start to finish. A lot of excitement, a lot of passes, a lot of overtakes, a lot of crashes too as well. But that's just good hard racing. But it all came down to this race where Jim Feliz comes home the winner. J.R. Williams going to wrap up the championship with a second place finish. Jack Hedgecock's going to come up just shy. Third place finish for him. Matt Stadnick, fourth place finish for him. Those were our top three drivers in Pro coming into this one with an opportunity to win the race. They're going to end up finishing where they came into this one. Chris Sprecher and Dave Menino are going to round out the top six and also round out our Pro class. Joshua Chinsky going to come home in second. Unfortunately for him, he's going to come up just shy of taking Pro-Am over Nicholas Goen. Goen going to take the championship in Pro-Am with his brother Josh Goen finishing just behind him and taking top spot in Am. Brett Thurman's going to come home in 10th. Tony Costello in 11th. Pete Mejia comes home in 12th. And he's going to finish up in second in Am. Potentially may see a penalty out of that. I'm not sure whether that'll work out. As far as the point standings, becomes home in 12th. Patrick Farrell in 13th. Colin McKenzie in Herbert Pineda in 14th and 15th. Guillermo Perret in 16th. Kevin Berquist 17th. Dave Jensen in 18th. Jacob Fichtner in 19th. Jay Steffi going to round out the top 20.
Yeah, 21st, we had David Morse, then Seb Gauthier, 22nd. Christopher Rhines, 23rd. Neil Alexander having a great race, up 9 positions, 24th. Dale Peterson, 25th. Sean Provo, 26th. Then we have Drew Deweese and Jason Park, a lap down each. Then we had the guys who didn't do so well, having earlier incidents. Javi Sierra down 7 laps. Ian Cabana, 10 laps. Brett Pancari, Roy Brown, Andrew Trickett, all involved, early incidents.
Yeah, unfortunate season ending for them. You always like to see the entire field make it to the checkered flag if possible, but let's get some driver interviews wrapped up here. But let's bring in our let's bring in our championship winner, second place finisher in the race, J.R. Williams, to catch up with Richard Swindells.
Hey, congratulations, JR. What a fabulous season.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I did not expect to even be in the contention when the season started, so I was just kind of doing my thing, and then, yeah, the mark just really worked out for me.
Your pit cycle today, you were in and out real quick. Were you tight on fuel, or did you save a ton in that first session?
I saved a ton in the first stint. I started fuel saving at the end because I wanted to do at least one donut. But yeah, otherwise I was good to the line.
Okay, we were a little concerned, but we figured you weren't going to throw it all away on pit strategy and just under fueling. So, you had a lot of victories. You had a couple of, you were spun a couple of times. You persevered. Basically a dominant performance all season long. Anybody you'd like to thank, JR? Or any words you want to say?
I want to thank my wife for putting up with this all season, and I want to thank my team. Just amazing team. SRTE is a great team. They're always supportive and working together. We all try to help each other get better. Every week we're just trying to push each other to get better, and I think it shows. SRTE has been consistently improving season over season, so it's good to see. Love the guys.
Well, I believe you're not going to be back for next season, perhaps the season after?
Yeah, I'll
Or
probably
did I
be.
hear incorrect?
Yeah, I gotta take a season off. It's a busy time for work, and I knew I was gonna probably miss a few races, so I'm gonna take a season off, and I need to work on my iRating and do some officials, and then we'll be back at it. Maybe we'll be in the season after.
Well, that'd be great. And well, congratulations once again. You've been a pleasure in the booth. Great watching you on the track, and we look forward to your return when you can.
Yep, thank you guys. You guys are amazing. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks.
So that was our overall and pro class champion, J.R. Williams. Let's bring in our race champion, Jim Feliz. Jim, you switched over to the Mustang this week. It looked like it really seemed to fit your driving style here at Nurburgring.
Yeah, I think had some bad luck last week, and so I figured why not, go for broke and just try to, take the penalty for the car change, but then just, drive whatever would give me the best chance to win today. And that gamble obviously really paid off. I think the Mustang was really strong around this particular track, and just seemed to work. And really really happy with that. It couldn't have gone better. So I think a good choice.
Are we going to see you back next season, Jim?
Not in GT3s. I'm going to be switching over to the Thursday night Formula 4, and we'll see how that goes. Haven't driven open wheel in a while, so hopefully it'll be fun, and will give me a chance to try something else out.
Excellent stuff. I look forward to seeing what kind of pace you can bring in the F4, Jim. So excellent season. Probably not the way you were hoping it would go from the start, but it looks like you're going to come home. Looks like by my calculations, 5th place, as Joshua Spears didn't show this week, so you don't have to worry about him taking that spot away from you. But anybody you want to shout out here, Jim, before we let you go?
Yeah, first, just congrats to JR on the Pro Championship. I think he was super fast and consistent all season long. So awesome job to him and all the other SRT's teammates. And just hello to the folks watching at home, and thank you guys for another great broadcast.
Excellent stuff, Jim. Appreciate it. And we'll see you Thursday next season in the Formula 4.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob.
So that was Jim Fleas, our race winner. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Looks like we have... Let's bring in Jack Hedgecoats to catch up with Richard Swindells.
Well, Jack, congratulations, another podium. I think you were hoping for maybe a little better tonight, but overall, much glad to see you return after last week's disaster.
Yeah, I would say I finished this race, guys. It's based on last week. It's progress. I mean, yeah, I wish I could have gotten second instead of third, but I knew the strat for JR was fuel saving, so I knew I was kind of in a tough spot because I couldn't catch up to Jim, and I feel like if I let JR by, he was going to leave me in the dust. So I think I finished third, 1 point behind Matt in the pro standings because I couldn't get that one car buffer, but it happens. So but no, I mean, can't really ask for much more.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Last race.
I mean,
yeah, got a podium last race of the season. At least got to talk to y'all one last time, so I'll take that.
A little disappointing, but JR saved some fuel and jumped you in the pits, but otherwise you drove a fabulous race. Jim obviously made a good decision changing cars, but you stuck it out with that BMW all season long. One of the few guys, and actually I think the only guy. So good on you. Good on you.
Yeah,
Jack.
one of the last ones. I think there's only a couple of us, so I wasn't gonna ditch this thing. So yeah, definitely wasn't the fastest car. It seemed like some tracks that Merc and Mustang seemed like the car to be this season. Them two were quick the second half, but yeah, I'll take a podium and championship. It's a really competitive field out here. I love racing with all these guys. Everyone's super clean, and well, besides last week. But
well, yeah,
we'll say we'll say it's a mulligan. But mostly everyone love racing around them. So yeah, it's a great league, and hopefully I'll be back not next season, but hopefully in the future.
Okay, so we're not going to see you back in next season, but perhaps maybe down the road a little bit in the future.
Yep, yeah.
Anybody you'd like to shout out?
Just Nick and Josh and the whole team. I mean, then I think they won their championships. So, congrats to them too. They were definitely fighting for more than I was in terms of up the standing. So, congrats to the whole team. I think we got second in the team standing too. So overall, everyone just did really well.
Yeah, you guys had a great season up until last week. I thought it was yours to lose, but congratulations on second. That's all I can say, Jack. Congratulations on the third place finish tonight, and we look forward to you returning maybe some point down the road. And it's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you guys. Thank you for the stream every week. Y'all are amazing, and thanks to the guys that host this league. It's a great group of guys and community. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack.
That
Thank you,
was Jack Hedgecox, our second place finisher, third place in the championship, and we wish him the best of luck in school next season. Is can't knock heading back to school, but let's bring in our fourth place finisher in the race, third place in. No, hold on here, my math is failing me here, Rich. Matt Stadnick.
I don't even know.
I think he got second in the points, 1 point by my calculations here, ahead of Jack Hedgecox, and finishing fourth in the race. So you put it right where you needed to be, right behind Hedgecox. Didn't let him get away from you. I guess it was a little dicey at the start of the race where he was ahead of J.R. Williams. That would have had him that spot just ahead of you, but J.R. able to pip him through pit cycle. So no doubt worked in your favor. How'd your race go from your end?
Not bad. It was sort of an uphill battle for the Porsche around here, but we made it work, which is nice. Big shout out to Jim for the win, and big shout out to JR. He really, the second half of the season, he's been driving like a true champion, with his pit strategy and just all out pace. So big hat off to him, and big hat off to Jack too. I mean, it's been a hell of a battle all season. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we mentioned at the start of the broadcast there was 4 drivers in the pro category that actually mathematically had a chance. Dave Menino would have needed everything to go right from pole, clean race, fastest lap, and all that to work in his favor, plus JR to go out early on. So obviously that didn't work out for him, but as you mentioned, JR Williams showed a ton of pace all season, be able to save fuel and put up some quick time. So well done by him, as you mentioned. But are we going to see you back next season here, Matt?
I'm on the fence because I get married in October, so I don't know if I'll have the time. But
it sounds like a good wedding gift to yourself.
So I'm sort of on the fence, so I don't have an answer for you yet. But I'd love to. But yeah, thank you to you guys and everything. It's been a lot of fun, and the battles have been really, really good, and it really makes you feel like you earned it. Everybody's been so fast this season, and I really enjoyed it.
Excellent stuff, Matt. Best of luck with your wedding. Best advice I can give you is the answer is always yes, dear. It'll get you a long way. So
I'm learning.
Best of luck to you, Matt, and hopefully we see you in the future.
All right, Rob. Thanks.
Take care. So that was Matt Stadnick, our second place finisher in the Pro Championship. Let's bring in Rich, here I'm getting the Goen brothers mixed up. Let's bring in our Pro-Am winner in the championship, Nick Goen, to catch up with Richard Swindells.
Hello.
Hey, Nick, congratulations. Great season.
Thank you very much. Definitely happy to finish where I did.
Yeah, it was. You had it looked like a very good battle with Pete Mejia and your brother tonight, and you finally got around Pete. But man, that was a good close battle all race long between the three of you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was just taking it easy at the start. I mean, the only thing I didn't want to happen was just to get caught up in a mess and potentially get taken out, because I think that was going to be the only thing that would have cost me the championship. So that was the only thing on my mind tonight. But yeah, it was a lot of fun battling with Josh and Pete. Still in the early laps, just still waiting for the tires to come up to temp, just taking it easy. And Josh was right there on my bumper. And this is like, he gave me a 0x, I think, at some point. And I was like, you know what? Just go ahead. Because he was ready to go after Pete. And I was just going to let them battle it out in front of me. I think during the pit cycle, I got around Pete. I'm not sure if he just had a bad pit entry or something. I'm not entirely sure, but came out behind Josh, and then when it was just us, he paid the favor back and let me by, and then I set my sights on Shinsky, but just ran out of time to go catch him. I felt like I had pretty good pace. I think he was saving there at the end, but it would have been fun to battle him as well there at the end.
Well, you guys, your team had a fabulous season. You had some bad luck last week, but otherwise, man, you guys put on a good show, a good battle, trying to get that top spot. Second, not so bad after all.
Yeah, the class championship we knew was going to be pretty difficult to attain, especially like the three of us were spread across all three classes, whereas I mean, JR and those guys, they're all in the pros, so it's just like it's kind of like it felt like David and Goliath, but it was just a matter of when they were going to turn it on. And I feel like the last handful of rounds they just turned it on, and I think it was last 2 rounds they finished 1, 2, 3. So it's just like they were getting max points every week, so it was going to be a tall order to try to get that championship. But honestly, finishing second, I think is something to be proud of.
Oh, for sure. We going to see you next season, Nicholas? Do you know yet?
Not entirely sure. Got some things coming up that might conflict with the schedule, so maybe on a part-time basis. I'm not entirely sure. So, at this point in time, it's probably one and done, and then maybe come back in a couple seasons. But
well, you've been a pleasure. You and the team have been a pleasure having. We've enjoyed watching your race. You, your brother, and Jack, always putting on a good show. So, anybody you'd like to shout out? We hope to see you again soon. And but give your last shout outs of the season, Nicholas.
Thank you guys for doing the broadcast all season. It's been fun watching your broadcast back. You guys do an excellent job. Thank you to the admins for putting on the league. Also want to shout out to people watching at home back in North Carolina in the hog pen. I appreciate them watching. And
Rachel, perhaps?
Rachel, my dad, the rest of the family, some other friends, my girlfriend, she's actually out in California. My grandparents as well. I'm not sure if they tune in for every race, but I know they tuned in for a couple. So maybe we'll see you next season. Maybe we won't, but I don't know. It's been.
We hope to see you again soon. And congratulations on all your success. And we'll see you the next time we see you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
So it was Nicholas Goen, our Pro-Am winner. Let's bring in our second place driver in the Pro-Am Championship and took the win here in class, Josh Wachinski. Joshua, you came into this one in third place in class. David Bush III out of town, so you're going to take a second spot comfortably away from him. And couldn't quite get enough cars in between you and Nicholas to get yourself up in the top spot. But how'd your race go?
Race went pretty good. First off, congratulations to Nick on the championship. He was super consistent all season. And I just unfortunately had 2 DNFs for the season, and that really ended up costing me a chance at the fight. But overall, really pleased with how the season went. The race itself, after probably the first 4 laps, just ended up turning into what felt like solo lapping, of where Dave ahead of me had better pace than I did, and I was just doing some fuel saving. I saw that the Goen brothers, Josh and Nick, were kind of fighting with Pete. So I was just trying to keep the car in one piece and knew that all I had to do was bring it across the finish line to not really be at risk of anybody behind. It's a shame that Dave wasn't here to be able to fight for it.
Yeah, they were fighting pretty heavy in behind you, so no doubt you were able to pull away. I bet you were loving seeing that in the mirrors. But what's your plans for next season, Josh? We're going to see you back next season in the GT3 leagues, or what do you got going on?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to end up being back next season. I am going to be switching to my beloved prototype cars, my LMP3 and LMP2 that I love so much. I've taken some time off from them for the last probably 2 seasons, and figured it's time to dive back in. But I will absolutely be back in a GT car at some point in time, and I'll be back in the grid. I'm just trying to take a season off and enjoy the higher downforce cars.
You're going to become a dentist, are you? I see. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Give us your shout-outs here, Josh, to wrap up the season.
All right. Well, first off, shout out to SRT. Congratulations, JR, on your championship and everybody else on the team. You guys are just absolutely fantastic. There's so much speed, so much camaraderie on this team, always pushing me to be as fast as I possibly can, to not get caught up from behind. So you keep me on my toes. Shout out to my mom and dad for watching. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me through this hobby of mine. Shout out to Penn Station East Coast Subs and Lifestyle Integrations. As we talked about last time, if you're in the Midwest or the little bit down south, feel free to hit them up for a sub. The best around, not even close. A shout out to Throttle Freaks for hosting this league. I appreciate everything you guys have done. And then also Pit Road Productions. Can't wait to watch this one back. Hopefully there's some good fights to be able to take a look at.
Well, excellent stuff, Joshua. No doubt you made Richard Swindells hungry again this week, but best of luck pulling teeth next season in prototypes. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
It was Josh Wachitsky, our second place Pro-Am driver for the season. And let's bring in our Am winner, Josh Goen. Josh, the battle came down to the end there between you and Pete Mejia. Pete needed a couple spots to gain over you to have a chance at taking the championship. He made a real move for it at the end that turned into a little bit of excitement at the line for us. But congrats on the win. You came in knowing what you need to do. You were able to keep your main competitor, Pete Mejia, in behind you, and you were able to clinch the championship. So how'd your race go from your end of side of things?
Man, yeah, well said. It was exciting, and then it was a lot of looking in the rearview mirror. I much preferred the first half of the race. From the get-go, I saw Pete was quick this weekend and kind of knew that he was who I needed to watch. And then he was the fastest McLaren out there in qualifying today, put it up in the top 5, 6 or something like that. It was just incredible one lap pace in qualifying. I saw that and I was like, okay, here we go. Time to buckle down. So we started the race. A little bit of a mess kind of in the first lap. I had a good side-by-side with one of the Mustangs out there, and just hard fought, holding off positions as my tires came to temperature. And then saw that I was kind of making ground up towards Pete. There was kind of caught up to him. Nick was right behind him, and Nick I think just kind of opted out of that fight and knew that he didn't need to make any big risks tonight, so he let me by. So thank you to him for that, and kind of let me just see what I could do against my championship rival over there. And man, I enjoyed it. It's been a long season, and there's certain folks that you can race hard because they'll they'll race you hard back, but they'll keep it clean, and that kind of respect's not something you find everywhere. So we had a good battle out there. He held me off for a while. It's kind of hard to find a move out there, and so I made a cheeky little lunge going in the last corner one time, and he covered it off, and then had to get super creative going through the stadium section, and I think we were side by side for at least half the lap. It felt like no margin, nothing but a dime between the cars for 2 or 3 corners, and finally was able to hold it out around the outside, and and that was something. That was a good time. I'll remember this race and this season for a while. From then it was just hold them off and bringing them home, and that's no fun watching somebody with their headlights getting real big in your rearview mirror. But I did what I had to do and finished the race. So
well done to you, Josh. It pretty much took us through that whole battle between you, your brother, and Pete Mejia. But Nicholas had mentioned that early on you gave him a little bit of a 0x in the rear bumper, and he thought, hey, I'm just going to move over and let Josh go through in a battle. I had enough buffer between he and Chinsky. So what are your plans? Are you going to come back next season to defend your title?
I would love to. I think Tuesdays about middle of the season became really difficult for me to sustain. So I think next season I won't be able to return, but I hope to in the very near future. Hoping to continue sim racing as much. And quite difficult to take a break. This league has been something special. You know, I think you've seen a lot of folks that have really turned the dial up to 11 this 10 week season, and everyone showing up as prepared as they can and making the most. And I know that I personally have definitely reached a new height in my own sim racing journey. So thank you to the league, the organizers for putting this on, and thank you to all the whole grid, everyone out there. I think the structure has made it a lot of fun, where you have the AM battles, but also the pro-ams, and everyone out there is just it didn't matter ultimately to me on track who I was racing. Uh, if they weren't on my team, I was gonna do everything I could to put them behind me, and I think that just made for a ton of fun. Hopefully a good broadcast for you guys to shout over.
Excellent stuff, Josh. Appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we see you back in the near future.
Yeah, thanks you guys.
Take care. So that's going to do it here, Rich. That was our last of our interviews. We'll just wrap this one up. Again, excellent season from start to finish. What a great set of tracks. I think we couldn't really add a lot of tracks that you and I are big fans of. I haven't seen a preliminary schedule for what's on tap next season as far as the GT3 series. I suspect it'll be more of the same, probably a couple other tracks mixed in, but we'll probably see a number of these tracks back again next season. And as you mentioned, the number of drivers unfortunately not able to come back this season. I know there's been a long list of drivers waiting to join up and sign up. They came in mid-season once the once the roster was already full. So there is positions open there. So get yourself in queue to get signed up. I believe the signups go live tomorrow for new drivers. Returning drivers had a week already to sign up. Also as well, the F4 League starts up for next Thursday. So Rich, any final thoughts from you here?
No, it's just it's been a pleasure broadcasting Throttle Freaks season 2. Been a pleasure working with you, Rob. We've had a lot of fun. We saw a lot of great racing, and hey, I'm looking forward to season 3.
Exactly. A couple weeks, I guess probably about 3 weeks before we're back again. Week 13 kicks off next week. We'll see the new content. And we'll catch you back in a few weeks for season 3 of Throttle Freaks GT3 action. For myself, Rob Campbell, and Richard Swindell is in the booth here. We'll catch you then. Bye for now.
Good night.